Runs kindly for Morrison. It's Cal Morrison! Just listen to this, please! Spencer takes over. It's Brad Spencer! It's in the back of the net! There's Donaldson driving forward. Cole Donaldson! That is simply ridiculous! There's Tom Lang! Oh my word! Unbelievable! Phenomenal! Incredible! Invincible!
This is Falkirk Daft.
With Behind the Wall and the Falkirk football fans in training.
Happy New Year! Welcome to the first Falkirk Daft of 2025, though it just seems like it was ages ago that we last spoke to you, obviously due to the cancellation of the Airdrie game, but we're back and it was us against Queen's Park yesterday. And on National Kiss a Ginger Day, I'd like to welcome to the podcast the Ginger God of Pod himself, the one-man band in the main stand. Let's blow him all a big kiss. Mwah! It's Ross Wayne.
Is that today, is it?
It is National Kiss a Ginger Day, so make sure you tell your wife that. You might get some action later on, Ross.
Okay, thank you for that heads up. I'll need to note that later on.
Yeah. I'll just do want message Jillian just sound say, by the way, it's National Kiss a Ginger Day. So can you get happy National Kiss a Ginger Day to all our ginger viewers and listeners.
What about African Sunset?
It's not African. Well, it's going that way. It's going more grey, isn't it?
It is.
Ginger these days. But how are you, Ross? You all right?
All right, mate. Not too bad. It's a really dark sort of Sunday evening, isn't it? It's like it actually feels like a Sunday.
I've had just a proper Sunday today because I've moved very little places apart from walking the dog and sitting on the couch watching FA Cup football this afternoon. I've not moved at all.
At all today. None at all.
No. I've just been
any shocks?
No, well, Tamworth took Spurs to extra time, but then Spurs won 3-0 in extra time. So.
Right, okay.
So I was just sitting watching that there just now, and I'm just kind of glancing at the Scottish football scores to see if it'll be blowing up, because I know there was a protest due at Ibrox today, so there was at the 55-minute, I think they
were due to walk out, weren't they?
So I don't know if that's happened. I've not actually checked that out yet, but the Rangers are winning 3-1 in Aberdeen. Hearts are drawing 0-0 at the moment, so there you go. But yeah, it's not about those other teams, it's about Falkirk, and that's what we do on Falkirk Daft. And of course, Ross was, of course, in hospitality yesterday.
I was, yes. It was good, as always. We was in with Grant Thompson, aka Charlie from Still Game. He got a ton of selfies and stuff requested of him yesterday.
Did he really?
He did, he got loads, which was brilliant. And I saw at one point, because I was a wee bit away from him, when he got one of the selfies in reception, and he made the wee boy who was in a selfie would do the keep him coming.
That's superb. Love it. As we say, one of our showbiz listeners, and you were hanging out. Did you go on the tour? Did I? We
did the tour beforehand. So there was 5 of us, although only 4 of us on the tour, because obviously with the train issue yesterday coming from Edinburgh, played havoc with Al, who was coming as well. But yeah, no, we did the tour. And
I've never done the tour. I've never done the tour.
You need to do it, John. It's honestly brilliant. There's the tour group was so big yesterday that it's usually just Murray, the legend that is Murray McIntyre, doing the tour, but it was so big they had to split it up. So there was Murray doing it, and I think another guy called Alan, not Alan, who is one of the hosts in the lounge. But yeah, so they split the group up. We were with Murray. It was as he was his informative self, as always. I'm sure he does so well, because is he not like 90 something, 91, wow. 92? He does so well. But there's I think the Falkirk Heritage Trust and the Bairns Business Club have put a lot of effort and funds into doing a lot of the heritage trail, so a lot of it's been redone. There's some really cracking shirts up in the walls as well, amongst other memorabilia, so it is definitely worth doing. So if you're booked onto hospitality this season, they do tell you about the optional tour, so I would highly recommend doing it. Really would.
When will you be taking over the tour duties, Ross? Because you must know the script off by heart.
No. I think I enjoy listening to it, but I don't know if I could retain as much information as these.
Brilliant.
It's always worthwhile. We didn't see any players or or John the gaffer or anything like that. We did bump into Chris McGill at one point, who decided to embarrass me on the tour group by singing Hospitality.
Brilliant. Well done.
And then he photobombed our photo at the gate out on the pitch. So
well played, Chris. Love that. Kit man extraordinaire, Chris McGill. Before we get into the podcast and the football, it's birthday corner time, and we're kicking off with one from Ella Rob. It says, "Hi, it's my sister Cara Rob's 19th birthday on the 11th of January, which is just gone. It was yesterday, and I was wondering if she could get a mention in birthday corner. So happy belated birthday to Cara, and that's from your sister Ella there. And unfortunately, Falkirk couldn't give you the best birthday present, which would have been 3 points, of course."
It would have been, yep. And we also got one in from Tom Mays, lifelong podcast listener as well. "Can you guys wish my daughter Amy Wallace a happy birthday, which is her birthday on the 14th of January. She's a season ticket holder in the main stand, and apparently, John, she doesn't sit too far away from you and I, so she should.
All right, brilliant.
And that's from our mum and our dad. P.S. We love the podcast. We're both looking forward to winning the championship."
Oh, 2 more additions to the Wayne train then.
I was getting grief for talking about, in fact, we'll talk about this. In fact, I may as well just talk about it now. So as we know, the players come up after the game, and yesterday it was Aidan Nesbitt and Ross McKeever, both brilliant guys. Anyway, as they were leaving the lounge, they were chatting away to the tables, and Aidan came over, shook everybody's hand. Lovely guy, chatting about the game. Obviously, it could be a big point, as he said, and Queen's Park came to make it difficult, which they did.
Yeah, they did.
However, I jokingly said to him, "Listen, if it's the difference between winning the league in March instead of February now, so be it." And he just looked at me and went, "Okay, I'll leave that with you then." So I don't think
Aidan's not on the Wayne train then.
No, he's not. No, not yet.
Oh, there you go. And of course, we have got the ongoing saga, which is the F Factor. And thank you very much to everyone who has sent us an F Factor song. And I love the fact that people are now sending them on voice notes, which is absolutely brilliant. So, as we say, I wanted Falkirk Daft Live, if you haven't got a ticket, right, this could be your way in, because I think we're going to get the 3 best F Factor songs, and we have a celebrity panel of judges to judge that. I would like John McGuigan to be involved in this judging process as well. It's almost like the Simon Cowell of
thinking about this. Do you think John, I'll need to ask him, do you think he would do Wagon Wheel for us while he's here?
I don't think so. I think that's a big ask. We've still not decided what obviously the last time we finished off with Don't Go Breaking My Heart, Kiki D. We'll have to finish with a song this time as well, Ross. It's like the panel, you've got to go out on a song. So we'll need to decide what we're going to do. I've got an idea, but we'll talk it over off air of what we're going to do for the sing song for the next Falkirk Daft Live. But yes, the F Factor, like I say, want to have the final up at Behind the Wall on the 28th of February, the next Falkirk Daft Live. A few entries have come in this week, and let's kick off with a former guest pundit, Scott Harrower, who sent us this. Oh my word. He's went for a full backing bed on it. Cool.
Da-da, 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 da-da.
Brilliant. So I see what he's done there. Presumably that is an ode to our new signing Dara O'Connor, who we'll speak about in just a bit. But what do you make of that one, Ross?
That's very clever. I do like that.
You like that. Right, okay, so Scott's there. We've got another one that's coming from Callum Lang. And this, I'm going to have to sing this one because he's not giving us a voice note. Here we go, right. So the Werewolves of London. Are you familiar with the track of Werewolves of London? Kid Rock sampled it in All Summer Long. Dun 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 dun.
I'll maybe know it when you start singing it. But
okay.
Yeah, okay.
So he's went for one, obviously, another new signing, Eamonn Brophy, who has the nickname the Lone Wolf. So to Werewolves of London, I'm trying to get the Wilson. All right, okay. I saw Brophy with Benny T's menu in hand. walking down the high street in the rain. He was looking for the place called the Bear in the Bow, gonna get a bag full of goals again. I have not scanned this well at all, but there it goes. Ooh, the Wolves in Falkirk. Ooh. Right, now you've got to go and listen to Wolves in London to get that. But I'll need. I'm not massively familiar with this, how it would scan. So, Callum, please send us a voice note on that.
The voice notes are a belter.
The voice note, because I do it an injustice when I try and sing it. So that's one for Eamonn Brophy from Werewolves of London. Chris McCready has also been in touch, and he has sent us a voice note. Here we go.
Right, I'm not Ed Sheeran, but here goes. Nezzy. We love Nezzy, Falkirk are winning. When he's running, it never ends. And he loves playing for John McGuigan. We love Nezzy, has the fans grinning. He's got a man bun and plays in the 10. And when he scores, the Bairns go and win. We love Nezzy. And then obviously repeats for there.
Like it.
That's a good effort.
It's very good. That's Dizzy by Vic Reeves and Wonder Stuff. Loving that. I love Dizzy. I love that song. So I'm all aboard with Chris for that one. We got another one in from Jay Penman as well, Ross, who sent us one on Twitter. Remember, you can follow us on Twitter at Falkirk Daft, though. I don't know why we're still on Twitter. Is Elon Musk turning into the baddie from Superman?
I think so. He is. It's gone a bit mental, isn't he?
Yeah, the baddie from Superman is just slipped out of my head, and I cannot remember. Lex Luthor. He gently is turning into Lex Luthor. I'm half expecting Superman to turn up now. But anyway, enough about politics. Jay Penman has sent us a voice message, and this is Jay's song for the F Factor.
Hi guys, I've got another version of the Aidan Nesbitt song, so here goes. Aidan Nesbitt, he has a man bun, he only scores for me and you. Aidan Nesbitt, he has a man bun, he only scores for me and you. Cheers.
Brilliant.
Listen, it's simplistic and it's classic.
Absolutely, yeah.
I love how the focus is always on his man bun as well.
There's always a focus on the man bun. And finally, on the F Factor this week, Brendan, good lad, he has done one to the Flintstones for Barney Stewart. Now, here we go. I know the Flintstones, so I can do this one, right? The Flintstones, meet the Flintstones, right? Okay. Barney, Super Barney, scoring for the Navy Blue Army. Built like fucking Arnie, he'll go down in Falkirk history. We all love the Fifers getting beat through the courtesy of Barney's feet. When he plays for Falkirk, have a yabba dabba do time, a yabba do time. Come on, the Bairns alley. And then obviously go, where am I? At the end as well. Brilliant. Very good. Like that one, Brendan. Like that one. So there you go. A few more entries to the F Factor. Me and Ross are going to have to work out who's going forward to judges' houses and be appearing live on stage at Behind the Wall on the 20th. But keep them coming. If you haven't got a ticket for Falkirk Daft, this could be your way to get into the live event. So get them coming. Preferably by voice notes, so I don't butcher them with my singing. That would be marvellous. So get them in on our messenger on Facebook, or you can drop us a DM on Twitter as well, or email ffactor@falkirkdaft.co.uk or rossandjohn@falkirkdaft.co.uk. I'd love to hear your songs for Falkirk. Obviously, yesterday we got the classic, and it was well expected. Barney Army. Barney Army.
I loved that. That was so simple but effective as
Oh yeah, it was always going to happen. Always.
What was the one for Eamonn Brophy? I heard that one getting chanted as well, but I couldn't make out the lyrics.
No, it was some Eamonn Brophy. He came from County and he loves the Navy Blue. I was like, Eamonn Brophy. Surely we're missing that. Eamonn Brophy rhymes with trophy. Surely the ultras are missing a trick here. Eamonn Brophy gonna win a trophy or something like that. Surely. But there you go.
Did you notice though the tweet that I had put out during the week after he signed? Because obviously I put welcome something like Eamonn Trophy, and then it's been bookmarked loads of times. And
of course it has.
You can just imagine it's
why are you constantly doing this? Honestly, stop it! I've threatened you before with your social media privileges. Stop doing it. Honestly, it just puts a marker back. And then I saw you yesterday. You were in there going, "Oh, the second best 11 in the championship's the Falkirk bench." It's a target on our back every time. I'm telling you.
We're just banner. Come on.
Social media privileges will be revoked.
Right, I'll start my own social media saying that we're called Daft Falkirk.
You do. In fact, you do that, right? You can start the Wayne Train social media at Wayne Train, right? And you can do whatever you want in there, but you just put a target on our back every time you do that. For goodness' sake. I mean, it would be brilliant. It'll be glorious if we actually do win it. But I've got a funny feeling in a couple of months' time, a lot of this is going to come back and bite us on the arse.
Well, and it's all shits and giggles. You take it on the chin, don't we? We do.
Right, okay. Let's say thank you very much to our sponsors this week. We had them on the podcast last week. It was Ryan from Rumour Architecture's been on the go for 5 years with Ryan, who is a massive Bairns fan. Rumour are fully chartered and accredited architects and are one of only currently 3 chartered architects practicing within Falkirk as well. So if you are a Falkirk supporter, you want a Falkirk supporter designing your house or your extension for you, and Ryan is your man. They've had a number of projects around the town. We've talked about that, the houses where the old Polish club used to be, at the convent site across from the old Falkirk Royal Infirmary. Ryan did those, and he also did Crunchy Carrot's office for the old Lecky shop, and you'll have seen that if you've been at Behind the Wall, which is an amazing looking building now as well. So Ryan is your man if you're looking to get something done. I mean, he does bespoke, contemporary extensions, housing developments, commercial property, hotels, and he's got loads of industrial clients as well. So get involved. If you need an architect, Ryan is your man, and you'll find him at Armar. That's rmar.co.uk. That's rmar.co.uk. Get on board with Ryan, and he will sort out all your architectural needs. If you have if you need an architect, you're a Falkirk supporter, Ryan is the man to go to. Absolutely. So he is sponsoring the episode this week. But let's get into the news now, will we? And it is January signing time, and it's the time we love to get excited about, and we've all seen that little emoji of the pen going up on Falkirk's Twitter, and it happened twice this week, Ross, with both Eamonn Brophy coming on loan from Ross County and Darrell O'Connor signing from York City as well. What have you made of it?
Yeah, no, really happy with those 2 signings. Firstly, obviously, Darragh was announced first. It was nice to see the club interact with our social media post that we put up in advance of that as well, just asking the usual sort of Simpsons gif at any signings coming admin. But really happy with Darragh O'Connor. Big lad.
He looks big, didn't he? Yeah.
Fits the mould that John McGuigan certainly looks for. You do wonder if he will break his way in, or will we stick with the sort of Cole Donaldson, Liam Henderson combo? I think it will be. I think we will stick with that unless there's a need for a change, whether it's maybe a midweek game that comes in and we will call, as a for instance, play 3 games in a week. Potentially not. So this is maybe where you have Darragh. This is where you have Tom Lang as extra defenders in there.
Yeah, we did see, obviously, here this week as well, Tom's on his way back as well. He's they're arranging a friendly against Dundee United, so Tom can get fit again and get himself back in contention, which is great to hear. So it does give us an option, and it's just another, obviously, we've got covered for every bit of the park now, really, because if you've got Tom and Darragh on the bench there as well.
Centre mid now, that's the last gap that John McGuigan's talked about getting a signing in, and when we asked the question yesterday, it sounds like they're not done.
if it's true, is it Kerr McInroy, who used to play for Partick Thistle, is training with us at the moment?
Apparently so. Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
rumour. Yeah, that's the rumour.
I've tried to do a wee bit of digging and find out a wee bit more about him, but I've not heard anything back on him yet. Maybe ask the.
Apparently, him and his full entire family are Dunfermline season ticket holders.
Yeah, I know. I did notice that that I did see when I went into his Wikipedia that I think his granddad played for Dunfermline as well, or was a big Dunfermline supporter. So yeah, that'll be interesting. But yeah, that'll be. I mean, the thing is, you've got Finn there as well, who obviously is kicking. And we'll talk about Stirlingshire Cup in a minute, and some of the boys that kicked on, and that a lot of rave reviews from Falkirk Sports, and you've got Michael McKenna there as well. But rumours has it that he might be going out on loan back to our.
Really, I've not heard that. No.
Yeah, a couple of rumours we'll get into in a minute. So obviously. Darryl O'Connor came in, and then the big one, I guess, was Eamonn Brophy, a man who has a Scotland cap to his name. Certainly when he was at Hamilton and Kilmarnock, a very talented player. I think his goal ratio for Kilmarnock was 1 in 3, or almost. I think it was probably even better than that. So Eamonn Brophy came in. I have to say, I was a bit hesitant. I mean, I'll be interested to see what kind of deal we've done, because I guess he's on pretty decent money at Ross County, so I wonder how much of the wages we're picking up from that deal. But certainly, speaking to a few St Mirren supporters, I know didn't have a lot of good things to say about Eamonn Brophy. Same with the county supporters as well. You just got to hope that he comes in, he fits into the team, and certainly, I think he got off to a decent start yesterday.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I know we'll get into the game shortly, but in terms of how he got on, I thought he put himself about pretty well, held the ball up well, ran the channels. I do think he struggled with his fitness, but then if he's not been playing regularly, then that makes absolute sense from that perspective. But we're strong in this position. Again, I know Ross McKeever's out injured just now, but hopefully he's not going to be too long. But you've also got Big Barney in there now as well, Gary Oliver. So yeah, we've got real competition for almost every place. Yeah,
we talked about Barney in a bit as well, actually, because I heard a rumour about Barney as well yesterday, which we'll get into in a bit as well. But yeah, Eamonn Brophy, I guess, is a different type of striker to Ross and to Gary actually as well. Gary's someone that probably likes to, obviously we've seen him drop deep, get the ball into feet, utilise Calvin or whoever's out on the wing at the time, Cal out on the wing. Ross very much, likes the ball into the spaces, likes to use his head. We've seen how effective Ross's flick-ons and how good he is in the air at that sort of thing for not being a massive guy as well. And I guess Eamonn Brophy's a different striker. He's the kind of striker that I think likes the ball in behind. Now, whether that works in our system, it's interesting to see, but I guess it gives you a different option there as well, because it did look yesterday he was looking for more balls in behind, but that's not we tend to go out wide and utilise the wingers. So but I think he showed signs yesterday. Like you say, I don't think the match fitness is 100%. So give him a few weeks to get up and running, and it's definitely a really strong option.
I was surprised he started
for the bench.
I was surprised he started.
I was surprised he started as well. I'll be honest with you, we'll talk about that when we get into the game as well. But so two big signs, and obviously Barney Stewart is now available as well, and we saw him come off the bench yesterday, and it was really impressive. So again, we'll talk about that in a bit. Jordan Allen, however, is moving out, so he came back from Clyde, which I think was a bit of a surprise, but looks like he wants to get back into full-time football, so he's moved in Queen of the South until the end of the season. I mean, I don't think we'll see Jordan in a Falkirk jersey again, because I know his contract's up at the end of the season. But it seems just not to have happened for Jordan at Falkirk.
No, we've obviously talked about it before, where he's maybe just his style hasn't fitted into the way. He was the top scorer in the championship, in League One when signed him.
Yeah.
So it made sense why we signed him at the time. But as you said, just it doesn't always work out for every player, and we can probably count on one hand how many signings John's made that hasn't worked out. So they happen. But good luck to him at Queen of the South. We all wish him nothing but the best, and you said, I don't think we'll see him in a Falkirk shirt again. Yeah,
it's a shame, because it's a player that came to the club and we're all excited to see what he could do in a Falkirk shirt. But like you say, I don't know if the system sort of fitted him. I think Jordan Allen is better in a 2. He's not that work hard striker. He I think he's more a fox in the box, and we didn't really see the best of his abilities at Falkirk as a result of that because of the way we play, which is a shame. But I mean, it doesn't matter what happens, he's still going to go down as that invincible team. And if it wasn't for that last minute winner equaliser up at Cove, we wouldn't have went invincible as well.
Been invincible, exactly that.
So best of luck to Jordan on his move to Queen of South. And our young lad that's on the staying where he's put where he is Reece Walker. He's going to remain at Cowdenbeath as well. Scott Honeyman, is he at Alloa till the end of the season as well? I'm guessing.
As far as I'm aware, he obviously scored midweek, as did many others, and they 8-0 win over Dumbarton, which was a really, really good 90 minutes. Probably one of the coldest nights I've ever had at the football.
Anyone that I've spoke to that was at the Stirlingshire Cup game on Tuesday, I couldn't make it because of work reasons, but everyone said it was freezing cold. It was absolutely Baltic. But listen, 8-0 win against Dumbarton. I mean, God, they looked like they had a wee boy in goals. He didn't look like he couldn't touch the bar.
Yeah, I get it. We kind of felt sorry for him come the end, but I think, listen, fair play to Dumbarton. They've obviously gave him they've told him they're going to give him a run out, and they have. He did have a couple of good shots. A couple of good saves. It could have been more. Listen, it could have been 10, 11, 12 Falkirk goals on the Tuesday night. Fantastic hat trick from wee Caelan McCrone. He did so well. Good
finishes, really good, strong finishes. And you've got to feel sorry for Caelan McCrone. He's been on the bench every single match this season. And then yesterday, because obviously the new signing is coming in, the poor lad scored a hat trick in midweek and was dropped off the bench yesterday. Listen, I'd like to see him get into the first team. You know, if we are at that point where, you know, maybe couple of goals up, why not, you know, get him on the bench, give him a run out in a 10, in the 10 role, you know, because that's where he was playing, wasn't it?
He was honestly fantastic. He wasn't alone, like, honestly. Like, I know I'll concentrate on the sort of proper reserves more than the first teamers that were playing, but I thought he was fantastic. I thought Barney took his 2 goals well as well. Obviously, he had the advantage of height over the keeper.
Yeah.
Both goals as well. Flynn McCafferty took his goal well. Scott Honeyman, Logan Sinclair with his goal. And the boy McGregor, I thought did well too. Big lad at the back. I thought he did really well as well. So just it all bodes well. And I think it's fantastic to see so many of them shining in that environment. And obviously they were helped along on the night by the first teamers. So Ross Monroe was in goals. He didn't have much to do, but he I tell you one thing, he commands the defence well because he talks all the way through the game.
Really?
Like, I thought Finn, who played the 90 minutes, did well. Mikey McKenna had a lot of the ball, as you would expect from someone of his tenure and calibre. And Big Cole obviously got 65 minutes under him too,
and obviously would have brought him off just with a review of Saturday there as well. We've not heard details of when the final is yet. We're obviously facing Stirling Albion in the final.
Yeah, they've not announced it yet. I wonder where it'll be. You would assume potentially, is it going to be at Stennismuir or Alloa? On the basis that it has to be a neutral ground. I don't know whether it does have to be a neutral ground. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how we go.
As I said, Ford Stirlingshire Cup's a lovely looking trophy as well, so it'd be great to have it back in our boardroom again as well. So I think they'll get a good support on the night when it is the final. So look forward to that. But yeah, good to see Falkirk back in the final and bringing it home as the record holders of the trophy as well. At some point, it'd be great to see as well. Talk about football. Falkirk women were in action. We're recording this on a Sunday, and it was a 1-1 draw with Dryborough today. It was a Brogan Anderson penalty late on that gave a point to the Bairns. So good to see the women getting another result, Ross.
Yeah, I know they've got a game scheduled for next Sunday against East Fife. However, I think that might be the kick-off times to be determined there, because obviously the men's team are playing at home next Sunday, and I think that would have been the sort of kick-off time It would have been Sunday afternoon for the girls. So if the coaches and the girls are listening, please reach out to us, let us know what the kick-off details, and we'll share that on our socials. But it's a good start to their second half of the season.
Yeah, they're going so well, the women, and we've obviously got the big game against Hearts coming up as well. We'll give you, which is going to be our Falkirk Daft focus game. We're all going to get along to that and watch the girls in action. So looking forward to that. Got to say thank you before we move into the game now to our sponsors. Oh, in fact, before we get into that, we've got a final bit of news is obviously the home and away shirt vote is finalised. And it was the two big winners were, drum roll, the 1991 Spall home shirt, which Simon Stainrod's was Simon Stainrod's first season in, and the 95-96 match winner white third shirt, which I'm gutted about because I've got the original and I thought I must be one of the few people in Falkirk that's still got that original top, but now everyone's going to be kicking about with it.
They were, but that wasn't two excellent choices, so you can see why they've both been picked. The home shirt was the one I voted for. The away one I wanted
the coasters. I wanted the coasters.
The coasters one. That would have been cool as well. That would have been cool.
I wanted the coasters.
But I think both will be very, very popular.
I will definitely be buying it. I think it's kind of springtime they're coming out. They're scheduled to come out as well, but I will definitely be buying that Spall home shirt. It's an absolute class looking top that, so I can't wait to have that in the collection. So brilliant. So I was speaking to James Miller actually, who kind of does all the social media for the Falkirk Sports Society yesterday. Said those were the two outright winners. Like they got their noses ahead straight away and there was no coming back from it, so they won by quite a margin, I think, as well. So brilliant. Looking forward to those coming out in the shops soon. Before we get into the game, got to say again our thank you to our sponsors, and it's our current sponsor. I met them in the pub yesterday. Of course, it's the Falkirk Football Fans in Training. The Lava Cup is this year. They're getting ready for it. We're also going to be playing them in another charity game at the end of the season, Ross. So I've got a couple of ideas up my sleeve for that charity game. So I was winding them up yesterday, saying, we'll wait and see what happens. Since we got the referee the last time was in their pocket, I'm going to up the game. But yeah,
we need to sort the ref. And I've not spoken to you about this yet, but we may have a celebrity manager that I've been able to nail down. The date depending, I've been able to.
Of course. So there you go. There we go. I might have a couple of celebrities up my sleeve as well, actually. But yeah. If you want to be involved in that match, why not just join the T8s now? They're making memories through football. Get involved down at the stadium on a Monday 8 till 9 or Tuesday 7:30, 8:30. I will get down at some point and join the games. I'd love to get down if I'm allowed to. And we've got the new initiative, the Falkirk Foundation Walking Football, which they've joined up with, and it's the Super Vets Football, which is happening on a Friday between 5 and 6, strictly over 50s, 8-a-sides, playing to the old school 5 rules. So if you want to get involved, it's kind of almost like a step before joining the T8s. So get involved with that, get your fitness up. If you just, it's January, everyone's looking to get fit, everyone's looking to lose weight. What better way than getting involved with Falkirk Football Fans in Training? So get down there on a Monday 8 till 9 or a Tuesday 7:30 to 8:30. As I said, bumped into the guys yesterday. I've actually bumped into them twice over the Christmas period. Once, both in the pub, funnily enough. Once in the station where they were having a committee meeting, apparently. So I was chatting away to them there. And yesterday they were at Elliott's before the game and having a bite to eat and a couple of pints. So, and I got a message from Ali, who's a member of saying, "You go to the toll booth?" I'm like, "No, I'm going down the road. Thank you very much." So I get involved with the guys. Like I said, great bunch of boys. Ian, Willie, Dougie, all the links are below. You'll find that there. And if you're looking to lose a bit of weight in the new year, this is a brilliant way of doing it. So get involved with the boys. Right, that is what we've got going on. So let's get into the football now, and let's invite our guest pundit, Andrew Yule.
How we doing?
Good, not too shabby.
Andrew, we've just commenting that it looks like you're in a shed at the moment.
Yes, yeah. Sitting in my outside office. Yeah.
Outside office, yeah.
Lockdown idea. Stick one of these things in the garden.
Is it cold or is it all right?
I have to say this week has been a bit of a challenge with the -6 outside every day, but today it's okay. My wee heater's doing its job. So.
All right, brilliant. And you've went for the smart option of turning it into an office rather than a pub, which most people do.
Indeed, yes, yeah. Although it's tempting, to be fair.
It's my dream. Generally, is. Ross has got a wee pub in his back garden, like the bar in his back garden, which he's not invited me to yet. By the way, I've never had a pint in Ross's back garden yet, which is quite disappointing.
Sounds really bad, don't you? You have.
But I haven't. I've not.
I know. But listen, I know that you've not. We'll need to get you over. There
you go. So maybe not in this temperature, Ross, but yeah, that is the dream, to get a pub in the back garden. Andrew, talk us through your time being a Falkirk supporter. When did it all start for you?
So it's actually not that long, to be honest. I'm one of the probably newer Falkirk fans. So I did go. I used to go to Brophy with my dad when I was a little boy. So, but if I'm being honest, my memories of it are walking over the bridge, getting my programme just before trying to squeeze through the gates with my dad, and also the stories of going to the toilet at half time and it sort of just being a block where it was sort of go and you go. That's my child memories of Brophy. So it's not much football, to be quite honest with you. And my
just off smells and experience.
It's the smells and the sights and the sounds, isn't it?
That is it. It's all just kind of locked away in the head. So then my oldest son started playing for the foundation. You guys have obviously had the foundation on, and they did this thing where the sort of teams get selected to pay at half time at a Falkirk match. So you get a free ticket and he would go and play. So that's how it started for us. That would have been mid 2023. So we're kind of kept coming. We live really close. I can see the stadium out here. So we're really close, but for some reason just never kind of connected with it until he went and played on the pitch. And then ever since first season, we just went as many games as we could, and then we were season tickets for this season. It's been quite nice because all of us go. So I've got 3 sons, so two of us go with my dad. So we've been going every week for a while.
I love hearing stories like that, and I love hearing supporters, maybe lapsed supporters that have come back, and you can obviously see that in the crowds and in the fact the fan base really is growing. Obviously, success on the pitch is helping that a wee bit as well. But it's great to hear those stories of young kids and not so younger kids getting back involved in supporting the team. So brilliant.
Are you saying Andrew's not young, John?
I was going to see if that was aimed at my dad or me. I wasn't sure.
Don't let the beard deceive you. He's 22.
I know. Well, the question we've been asking all this season is who's the most disappointing player in a Falkirk jersey you've seen, Andrew? But I don't think if you've just kind of come back into it, there's going to be much disappointments.
I mean, I was scratching for an answer, if I'm being honest, because we are being so lucky with our timing in terms of when we've started falling. So it's really tricky to pick one, if I'm being honest. If you really pushed me, I probably would have said Brian Shandley, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
But that's a real push. Like, I'm scratching to kind of find a place to go. But no, it's been an amazing time to watch the team.
Actually, best of luck to Ryan Shanley. He's just obviously signed up for Stirling Albion this week, so I wonder if we'll be facing him in the Stirlingshire Cup. That'll be an interesting one.
You never know. That's true. It might be.
That's it. Brilliant. Oh, you were at the game yesterday, Andrew, as were me and Ross. Ross, of course, was in hospitality. But yeah, let's talk about the 0-0 draw with Queen's Park. Cole Donaldson came back into the starting 11, obviously with Big Luke going back out to Dundee. We were short there, so Cole fit again. Great to see him back in, captain in the side as well. So he's back into the starting 11. Plus, Calvin Miller came in as well. Leon McCann came in for Sean Mackey, and they changed for Dunfermline as well. And Eamonn Brophy started instead of Ross McKeever, who was injured. Interesting team selection, Ross. I didn't expect Eamonn Brophy to start. I thought he might have went with Gary Oliver or potentially Barney.
Yep, me too. I didn't expect as many changes as that, to be honest. Obviously, we knew Cole would be back in, with Luke heading sadly back to Dundee, and I thought Cole eased himself so comfortably back in. I thought it was excellent.
I thought it was really comfortable yesterday.
Yeah. Him and Hendel, who we will talk about again. Yeah. What a phenomenal pairing that is. But yeah, as you said, Calvin Miller back in, Leon and Eamonn started as well. Like you, I thought Gary Oliver might have got the nod, or indeed Barney, fresh from his 2 goals. Granted, it was in the Stirlingshire Cup, but He's played a couple of games for us in the Stirlingshire Cup and scored 3 goals in the 2 games. So you did wonder if his height and physicality might be used, and I think we saw enough in the 15 minutes that he got to suggest that he's going to be a handful this season. And Liam McCann coming back in. Obviously, Shaughan didn't have the best of games against Dunfermline, as we talked about at the time.
Yeah, I don't think I was massively surprised because I don't think Shaughan was great at Dunfermline.
I don't think it was his best game ever. I don't know if Leon expected to. Sorry, I don't know if I expected Leon to start though. I thought Shaughan might have retained his place because John, he does tend to stick with a sort of regular physical back four, but maybe it was tactical.
We were talking about this on the way down because we walk from the house every day, kind of in the crowds. And we were talking about exactly that, and I was saying, had John's kind of not a rule necessarily, but his whole thing of don't change someone who's doing well. I don't know if he's sticking to that when it comes to the left back because it kind of seems to bounce between the two of them, and I'm never fully sure exactly why. I'll be honest, I thought Shaki was going to start. I didn't expect it to play on, but he didn't.
I think it, like say, it's tactical. I think it depends who would come up. So the more ball playing teams like Queen's Park, Dunfermline more physical. Livingston, Livingston, maybe not Airdrie to an extent because they play decent enough football or try it at least anyway. But those big kind of more physical teams, I think that's when he makes the switch. The one I was quite surprised about was that obviously Ethan Ross has been a bit of a talisman this season. I don't think he's been on fire recently, but Calvin Miller, I thought when he came on against Dunfermline made a big difference, but he was back in his natural left wing. But were you surprised that he dropped Ethan Ross?
I personally,
I was. I'll be honest, I was. Although I wasn't disappointed with the way Calvin Miller played, which I'm sure we'll talk about. I thought he was absolutely exceptional, and he'd struggled a couple of games. I just thought he was a bit off it, a bit leggy the last couple of times Calvin's played. Just maybe he was not playing in his natural position, but he came on and I thought, oh my goodness, you are up for this, right? You are, and he was pinging about right from the off. But was I shocked that Ethan wasn't on? Yeah, definitely. I thought particularly because, as you say, Queen's Park are a ball playing kind of team. I thought we probably would have used Ethan's trickery because he's quite good with his footwork.
He gave them all sorts of trouble at Hampden, Ethan.
Totally. So yeah, I was a bit surprised. Sorry, Ross, I don't know what you thought.
No, I totally agree with you. I didn't think Calvin had a bad game at all yesterday. But did I think Ethan Ross would be dropped? No, I thought he would have. I thought he's done enough in the last 6, 7, 8 weeks to retain a starting place, to be honest.
Yeah, but I mean, it goes to show again. You look down that bench yesterday, and like we alluded to earlier, poor Caelan McCrone scored a hat trick in midweek, and he's dropped off the bench. But you look at down that bench yesterday; that is the strongest Falkirk bench I have seen in many a year. You look down that, and there's so many options there for the bench. And he used all 5 subs yesterday as well, so that just goes to show you the strength that we've got there. But yeah, it was. You could see the impact. I think playing Miller out on the wide left is more comfortable there. Though we keep saying his numbers from the right have been phenomenal in terms of his goals and assists. But yeah, he looked a lot more comfortable on that left-hand side, certainly yesterday. And it was him that really kind of got us off. He started off, like you say, I think, Andrew, a bit of a man possessed there at the start. Because, a couple of early chances in terms of getting the ball into the box. He had a cross at Eamonn Brophy. He was just a bit of a nuisance early on.
You know what I quite liked about that move, and this is what I thought we're going to get from Eamonn Brophy, is he managed to kind of cut in front of the defender to get his strike off. We don't always do that, so I thought that was a really, really good sort of sign of what's to come from Eamonn Brophy, and he'll get the service. He will from Miller, or if it's Agyeman or Morrison or Ethan Rose, he's going to get plenty of service into the box.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Calvin got the cross that ended up with Keelan Adams taking a shot for the edge of the box on the right hand side as well. The one that kind of looked like Morrison was hanging about it, and then Keelan just came, and I think the keeper got a tip on it. So that everything in that first 10 minutes was pretty much created by Calvin Miller. Yeah. So good to see him back.
Keelan Adams had a couple of shots yesterday ago. We've kind of, talked about Keelan's form over the last month or so. He was kind of average yesterday, I would say. He's maybe starting to come back up the hill a wee bit, but he didn't get. I don't think he got as forward as much as he could have yesterday. But yeah, he started. I think he's starting to play himself back into a game now, which is good to see as well. I mean, in the first half, it was just a strange kind of game. I don't think we had massive clear cut chances, Ross. And probably Queen's Park, when you look across, probably had the best chances, maybe. I mean, you had Jack Turner, who's been in good form for them recently. Nicky, again, excellent, really good save from him. In that first half, Nicky was actually, in fairness, had a couple of decent stops yesterday. But yeah, we didn't, after that kind of initial burst, we didn't really set the header alight, really.
No, we had plenty of the ball, because we all went in at half time thinking the possession stats must have been through the roof for us. And as you said, we had 3 or 4 chances in the first half. They were all pretty much sort of long range efforts. The obviously the one prior to half time where Calvin sort of cuts out that weird pass across the defence from the centre half. You just wonder, could he have ran in a bit more rather than taking the shot off at the edge of the box? Because Calvin's like, he's absolutely lethal. But could he have maybe took another few yards into the box there? But yeah, it was much of a muchness. The Queen's Park didn't have too much to write home about in the first half. They did come in an attacking sense. They came into it more in the second half. But yeah, possession wise, dominated them.
Yeah, I think they came with a game plan, Andrew, and I think they affected it quite well.
Oh, 100%. Like they sat off, right, and they let us come at it. But that kind of, I think John said it in his post match. It seemed like we wanted to pass the ball into the net, and sometimes we're really good with those quick kind of movements in our plays, and Queen's Park just blocked everything that we were doing. So no, I would agree. I think I wouldn't go necessarily as far as part of the bus. Maybe some might think that, but I think they did a great job of cutting out all our little kind of movement type passes. And actually, I think you guys said it a couple of weeks ago. I don't think our passing was actually that bad. There was quite a few stray balls, but I think the blocks are actually just good defending rather than a poor ball. Do you know what I mean? And I was getting a bit frustrated at it, but I think they're just good defending.
I would agree. I would agree with that, John, with Andrew there, because I thought our passing in general was far more crisp yesterday. I think we were a bit more clinical with it. It was just the finishing that was the difference yesterday. That and really good defending. I've been on record on this podcast before saying that Queen's Park are one of the better football teams we've played this year, and I stick by it. I think the 3 games that we've played against them have been exceptionally tight. Like, I know you could argue we battered them a bit at Hampden, but it was still only 2-1.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it's a real tough team to play against.
Yeah, I thought that the pressing was really interesting yesterday as well. So it was like in the first half they were right up against us, but in the second half it was almost like what we call in basketball a half court press. So they just let us come at them, and then they would activate the press when we came near the halfway line. I thought it was really interesting tactically. I think Callum Davison did his homework, and certainly, like you say, the 3 games we've had against them at Hampden, I thought we've really dominated them at Hampden, and we should have won by a lot more. But certainly at the stadium, the last in the 2 visits they've had, they've been tactically up against us, and figured out us a wee bit more as the games have went on. So I wasn't actually surprised they managed to get a draw yesterday. And like you say, it was maybe it wasn't the pace or the zip yesterday that we normally have. I think the passing on the whole was great. What did you make of Dylan Tate and Brad Spencer's performance in midfield yesterday, Ross?
Firstly, when the teams were read out, I thought this was our strongest team on paper that he could have put out, with maybe the exception of trying to get Ethan Ross into the team. But then, as we've said before, the 4 wingers we've got are interchangeable, aren't they? But going back to the centre midfield positioning, I do love to see the 2 of them together. Was it the best game the 2 of them have played in a Falkirk jersey? Probably not. No, I think there was quite a few, probably more so from Brad's perspective. I don't think I've seen him maybe give the ball away as much as he did yesterday in a Falkirk jersey. But the man has been phenomenal week in, week out, and he's going to have a game. occasionally where it maybe doesn't kind of work out for him. The other issue with Brad is he gets targeted, John, because the managers aren't daft. They see the positioning that he takes up in the team. They know that he takes the ball off the centre halves and he gets targeted. And if, the managers in this league are, again, they're not stupid. They know to help close him down will then suppress us. And the Queen's Park did that pretty well yesterday.
Yeah,
you can see that. You can see that with the passing out from the backs. There's quite a bit of times where Hendo would have the ball, and normally we just zip it to Brad. Brad would turn, and the next phase is on. But it kept getting spun back and forward, out to Leon, back to him, out to Cole, and it was because I think they're waiting for that pass in to Brad, and the Queen's Park were just all over him. And I think Dylan Tate had a great game, by the way. Mm-hmm. He made a couple of nice kind of moves in that middle. But I think you're right, Ross. I mean, Brad is an absolute genius and has been for us for, so if he had one, I'm not even going to call it an off game, but
no, listen, he was probably, this is the standard he set. He's normally an 8 and a 9 out of 10, and he's probably a 6 or a 7 yesterday.
Yeah,
that's it.
Do you know what's interesting as well? However, I was talking about this yesterday as well. I'm talking about Liam Henderson now. Except I thought unbelievable again centre half yesterday. I thought Cole Donaldson as well. I thought he came back in and looked like he hadn't missed a beat as well. In terms of, you were slightly worried when you saw him against Ayr, but it looks like his match fitness has come back, and obviously that run out in Stirlingshire Cup would have done him the world of good there during the week as well. But big Cole, I thought was came in, and him and Hendo looked really good. What I was going to say, however, is now we have the cover. We've got obviously Tom coming back, just signed Dara. Be interesting to see him. We now have an option on the table, which I think would be interesting next time we face Livingston, of putting Liam back into midfield and utilising him there and bringing in Dara or Tom alongside Cole, because that option is now available. I don't want to see Liam Henderson out of defence because he has been, for me, player of the year so far. And I thought again yesterday, absolutely just strolls through the game. The absolute Kaiser. He takes the ball down. He never panics. You can just see, obviously, that midfield spell he had all of last season is just, for a centre half, such. Very rarely makes a mistake. Very rarely makes a missed pass. Just for me, you mentioned Brad. But for me, Liam Henderson has been player of the season. And I think with the centre halves coming in, Dara, Tom coming back to fitness, we're going to have an option there in putting Liam into midfield. So it'll be interesting to see if that gets utilised in the season to come.
Who would you drop though to make that happen though, John?
I've dropped Dylan Tate. I think, I think in a physical game against Livingston, or I don't know, maybe Dunfermline, you can utilise Liam's physicality in midfield and have a bit more protection in there and a bit more height in the middle of the park, because we saw obviously in League One last season how important that was, and it, with the centre half. I wonder if John McGuigan's got that in mind. That'd be interesting to see. But you wouldn't, like you say though, you wouldn't want to see him not in defence because he's been unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable there. But I wonder if you'll see that happen at some point. Watch this space. Second half, we talked about. I just looked up this possession statistics from yesterday as well. 60% possession for Falkirk in the game, which is not surprising. The closest chance we get, I guess, was the Morrison shot, which just skiffed the post. Typical Callum Morrison action, Andrew.
Oh, I mean, he makes a chance out of nothing. I mean, you look at it, he's right. There's a bunch of pound around at the edge of the box, and all of a sudden, like the goal he got, was it a couple of weeks ago, right, when he just sort of popped up 80-odd minute and got one. I honestly was up. I'll be honest. I was up going, like, and everybody around me, same story. Brilliant chance.
Yeah.
You win some, you lose some with that movement. But do you know what I mean? But the thing is there's very few players who have even a shot on goal from the position that Callum got himself into.
Yeah. And I like you, Andrew, I thought it was in, right? And just before that had happened, I had said to the guys next to me, I think Alfie will be on for Callum shortly because he's not done much today. Yeah. And then, but this is the issue, as you take Callum off, and you might miss out on a moment of genius, because that is exactly what he can do. He can create a chance out of absolutely nothing. And he's the best striker of the ball I think we've got.
I agree with that. Like you say though, Alfie did come on, as did Ethan Ross. Typical change that's going to, you'll see that throughout the season, because you say we've got those 4 brilliant wingers that they can do. Alfie, I thought when he came on, did Alfie things. I think he caused them trouble. The one thing, obviously, we brought on then Barney for Eamonn Brophy. Happy, we talked about earlier about Eamonn Brophy's performance. Ross, happy enough with his first performance in the Falkirk jersey?
Yeah, I thought he contributed pretty well. I thought he was on longer than I thought. I thought Barney should have came on when Ethan and Alfie came on, but otherwise I thought Eamonn put himself about. I thought he led the line pretty well. You can see he's an experienced Premiership striker. I think it's a bit of a coup that we've got him as well, and I think he'll get us goals. But he probably is 75-80% match fit based on what you saw yesterday. And what again, we talk about the strength of the squad, the bench. How brilliant is it that you can bring on Gary Oliver and Barney Stewart to that attack, because and alongside Ethan and Alfie, they didn't give Queen's Park a moment's peace.
What do you make of Eamonn Brophy, Andrew?
I mean, I thought he was excellent. Getting himself in and about things. You referenced the shot in the first half. Again, just shuffling in, a bit like what Alfie does sometimes. Actually, so that kind of lean in and then turn, which is what he tried to do. I think what was interesting, because I kind of sit towards the kind of ultra end of the main stand. He wanted the ball early quite a few times. So there's quite a few times where we're running through and he's sitting on the line and he wants the ball played. And I'm not sure that we got the click with what he's looking for. Do you know what I mean? Because I think what he can do is he can run right through. So I think once the team kind of spends more time kind of working out where his skill set, which will be different from Ross's, right? Because we've talked before about his, or you guys have, you talked before about his kind of hold up play being excellent. I think he's going to play more direct in Brophy, if I'm being honest.
We were talking about it's a striker that probably likes a ball in behind, but whether that suits our system is going to be an interesting one. I think obviously Dylan Tate, Aidan Nesbitt, Brad Spencer have got it in them to send those type of balls. So it'll be interesting to see if they fit to maybe what Brophy's looking for, or if we just keep continuing looking for, what I would say is the Falkirk style play, finding the wingers, throwing the cross into the box. It's great, but as I say, it's a different option to the strikers that we've already got.
Yeah, totally. And I thought Barney was excellent.
Yeah, let's talk about Barney, because Barney obviously came on for Eamonn.
Barney Army.
Barney, we were singing that big time, weren't we?
Absolutely, absolutely loved it. But yeah, Barney, I think looks a very exciting prospect. Obviously saw his goals that he's contributed in the Stirlingshire Cup. But I think when a young player comes in, and certainly one of his physicality, I mean, he's a proper man. He's no a wee boy, do you know what I mean? He is a big boy. And he put himself about, almost scored with what would have been probably one of his first touches when Alfie crossed it in low, and he just found it in his feet. I was like, oh, what a way that would have been to start his Falkirk.
That would have been a phenomenal start to his senior Falkirk career if he'd scored there. He's just... I think he's fantastic, and I know we've not seen a huge amount of him, but I think he'll have a big part to play between now and the end of the season. And it wouldn't shock me if he might even manage to hit double figures with goals. I could see him getting 10 goals for us between now and the end of the season. Big claim, Ross.
I have heard, however, rumours were circulating that he's going to be put out on loan.
I really hope not. I think he's a brilliant addition to the squad. Why would we though? Like, what benefit?
I guess it depends on whether how fit Ross McKeever's going to be, because you've got basically 3 options from the bench, haven't you? You've got Oliver, Brophy, McKeever. Now, if he's just going to be sitting on the bench not getting game time, is it not better to get him out there and learn the game at this level, when League One level? Montrose is the name I heard being touted, right. But whether that's just rumour and conjecture, I don't know, because maybe it'll be later on in the month if John gets a good look at him and says, well, let's put him on. I think he did coming on off the bench, and the way he put himself about yesterday, he had that chance to talk about, the other chance he had when you thought he was going through, and he just got the wee neck and he was going through, and obviously Callum Ferry, who, by the way, I think is the best keeper in this division. I think he's a very, very good goalkeeper, but obviously got the ball on it, and you were just gutted For you could tell Barney afterwards because he put the cross in. He wasn't a great
Just
ball.
overhit it, didn't he?
Just overhit it. But you could tell how frustrated he was at that, and it was a big chance for him to get a goal in his debut as well. But I really like the looks of him, and I like to say, Ross, I wouldn't want to see him going, but I wonder if John McGuigan will look at him in that bit part role that he's played and keep utilising him, say, well, do I have to put him out on loan, or can I just throw him straight in to the Championship and he'll get me goals? I think maybe at the end of January, it depends how Brophy does, depends where Ross Fitnesses does, but I think come the end of January he'll have a decision to make whether he wants to put Barney out on loan, give him game time, get him used to this level so we bring him back in for next season, or whether he keeps him on to the end of the season as an option from the bench. It'll be very interesting to see. Are you impressed, Andrew?
Oh, I mean, absolutely. I thought. It was the fact that he was just, again, like Calvin when he came in. He was right at it. Right, he didn't look completely out of place. He was. Yeah, he was ready for it. There's also a bit of me as well. Maybe I'm just getting a bit kind of carried away with myself here, but I love his story. The fact that he was, what was he, serving in Starbucks or whatever it was, and he's kind of worked his way and he's been picked up through a university team, and for what I'm explaining, he's scoring bucket loads of goals when he was playing there. So I personally would love to see him get the chance. And John did find a system yesterday where he managed to bring on Gary Oliver and Barney, which was kind of, when he first did that, I was like, okay, what's the system here?
I just think see if you got rid of him, he's your only alternative to Ross McKeever. He's the only alternative. So why give him up to another team? That's just my thoughts with it. I really hope he stays. I'd be. In fact, I'm just going to say I'll be really annoyed because I just think I genuinely think, and obviously, listen, joking apart, right? John knows the players in football far more than any of us ever will, right? However, I just think the boy's got something about him, and I'm really excited to see what he can do.
Yeah, I think everyone is. And like you say, it's just young players. You've loved watching the development of Keelan Adams this season, and it's just when young players come in to say, I'm really excited about Keelan McCrone after seeing them in action still in Shard Cup. All these young boys that are out on loan just now, you want to see them come through the ranks of Falkirk and get back to what we used to do. In the fact that we brought through a lot of young players. I mean, a lot of it was through necessity, but a lot of these boys, when you look at Craig Sibbald, Conor McGrandles, players like that, it's great to see them kicking on and having good careers. You want to see that happen again. So let's fingers crossed that Barney stays. But, Queen's Park came with a game plan, they executed it very well. Should Falkirk have won, do you think, on the basis of the chances that we had? Certainly, I thought Queen's Park, certainly at the end, that ball that flashed right across the box as well. I think they had one, or maybe did they have the better chances, is it fair to say? Nicky Hogarth had a couple of saves to make.
Nicky had a couple of big saves to make, but then Callum Ferry, who you said, he's a very competent goalkeeper as well. A draw probably was a fair result. I
forgot Callum Ferry was on the books at us on loan. I completely forgot that.
Yeah, but a draw probably was a fair result. I hope it's a point gained rather than 2 dropped when the midweek fixtures come around.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see the results and where they go. We've obviously got our game against Ayr to be rescheduled as well, so that'll, but obviously we're leveling games now, but then
that'll change.
That'll change. Tough place to go, East End part of the way. Dunfermline, that's picked up obviously a point against us, 3 points against Thistle. Seem to go very well, though the manager situation is baffling. Speaking to a few people about that, apparently it's all to do with obviously the takeovers going on in the background while they're trying to appoint a manager, and I don't think the Germans want to pay the money, and I think the takeover. Plus, you've got to remember Michael Titzer's also a player at Kelty as well, so interested to see what's.
You think that there's? I know we're not here to talk about Dunfermline, but there's something. I still don't think this takeover, who they want to sell it to, I don't think that's the right road to go down.
Poker player, like I say, made this joke before, Ross. He's used to dealing with flops.
Hey.
It'll be interesting to see what happens.
You just feel as if he's maybe a bit crooked, like cattywampus,
You're predicting a Hamilton scenario here, are you?
Yeah, I don't see it going well. I really don't.
Well,
I just don't see it going well.
We'll wait and see. But yeah, it's certainly you'd want them Dunfermline as much as we don't want Dunfermline to win normally. If they get 3 points against Ayr at East End, I'll be quite happy with that. That's Tuesday night, I believe that game is happening this week. So we'll wait and see where we are come the midweek fixtures. But 0-0, spoils shared. And I was saying that we don't, and John McGuigan, as we'll hear in a minute, said that in his press conference as well. We don't very rarely get a 0-0 over the last kind of year, 2 years. The last one, obviously, was against Livingston, the midweek game, which should have been 1-0 Falkirk as well. Would like to add to that at that point. But yeah, let's hear what John McGuigan had to say after the match yesterday.
John, a disappointing result today. I think a lot of the ball, a lot of chances, but maybe unfortunate not to come away with anything apart from a point.
Loads of effort, loads and loads of effort. Couldn't have fault the players for the effort. They put so much into that game, and as far as I'm concerned, deserved to win the game. Did we produce enough quality? Maybe not compared to what we normally do. The final ball wasn't particularly great. We didn't really get on the end enough of the crosses that did come in that were decent crosses, and that would be the frustration for everyone, because we've had loads and loads of the ball, and we weren't at our best. We weren't at our best, but we were still actually good compared to other games, but just lacked a goal. It just lacked a goal. It was simple as that. I thought we defended really well. They didn't, create an awful lot. I think Nicky had one save in the second half, low doing earlyish in the second half, and then the boys put the ball across the face of the goal right to the death there. Other than that, we've defended really well. I thought Henderson was different class, absolutely different class. And Leon and Keelan got up and down the wings, they're trying to get balls in the box. Some decent, some not so good. We dominated the ball. Very, very, very similar. We just didn't get to the heights, and maybe we didn't have a game last week that can sometimes knock you off your stride. It's 2 weeks past Friday last night since we last played. You can do as much as you want in training to try and replicate that, but it's never quite the same. And so maybe a little bit. Just it didn't quite click today. Our decision making wasn't quite as good. But I mean that as quite as good. We still did well. We still played some really good football at times. But we looked like we were trying to walk the ball in the back of the net. We didn't probably get enough quality in, and maybe there was opportunities for us to put the ball in the box a bit more than we actually did. Callum Miller's had a shot that went narrowly by the post in the first half, and Callum Morrison had one in the second half that went narrowly by the post. These were probably is maybe as close as we come. So yeah, a little bit frustrating. No the end of the world, we obviously were planned to go out here and win the game. Fair play to Queen's Park. I thought Callum and his team were very, very well organised. His team was very well organised today. They made it extremely difficult. They put a shift in as well. They've had to put a shift in to match the energy levels that we were working at, and obviously they've learnt from the last game that we played them. We didn't work the goalkeeper nowhere near as much as we did in that occasion. So yeah, we dust ourselves down. Point, you look at the result last week between Queen's Park and Livingston, and from that point of view, you can almost say we've gained a point. However, it's unusual for us not to score at home in a league game. For a 0-0. There's not been many of them kicking about in the last year and a half or so. Again, that's just sort of level of performance and that we've been playing at, and it just didn't quite click for us today.
There you go then. John McGuigan didn't quite click for us today. It was interesting actually. I think we didn't really we didn't test Callum Ferry, I think, enough as we should have. The chances we did have, like John said there. We talked about the Callum Morrison chance, Calvin Miller just wide as well, the Keelan Adams shots. We just couldn't get them on target, and test them as much as we could have. But listen, again, is it 1 point gained or is it 2 points lost? That's the question that we'll be asking, I'm sure, come the end of the season. Let's see what you guys thought about the game yesterday. Brian Flynn, our sponsor, kicks it off saying, Barney must start till the Wolf is fully fit. #Barney Army.
Barney army indeed. Craig Rodden says Queens were extremely well organised defensively. Their closing down was immense. Sometimes the opposition just play well. Hendo and McCann were outstanding again.
Yeah, Leon was excellent. We didn't mention that as well yet. We talked about changes and stuff, but Leon I thought was actually really, really good yesterday. Michael Janetta, former guest pundit, says Hendo different class has been all season. Surely our player of the season already. I fully agree with that, Michael. It wasn't our best performance, but still clear at the top. We'll live to fight another day. The Wayne train officially starts in February.
Let's hope so. Alan Risk says, created enough chances to win, but we could have conceded right at the death as well. So a point gained. Queens looked well organised and sat very deep. Barney looks a player, and Brophy's touch, hold-up play and passing was class. Come on, you Bairns.
Sandy says, positive from today. We've got a point, 5 clear, same games played with better goal difference. Another great performance and turnout by the fans. We go again.
Good shout by Sandy, nearly 5,800 at the game yesterday. And again, we talk about said about the weather in the last week. It wasn't roasting yesterday. It wasn't as cold as Tuesday night, but it was a cold one again. And the crowds have just been phenomenal. Yeah. And hopefully, it's not in the season ticket, but hopefully a big crowd will come out for the Scottish Cup tie against Raith Rovers as well. I think that could be a big difference maker as well. Keith says Henderson man of the match by a mile. Barney Stewart did more in 15 minutes than Brophy did in 75.
I think chance-wise he probably did, yeah. Dave says Liam Henderson was outstanding again. Nizzy was a close second. Had Callum's effort not just missed, we would have won that no problem. Decision-making with corners was poor today and some misplaced passes. Queens aren't that bad a team and they're set up to stifle us, and it worked.
Bayern Brew said 2 points dropped. Barney looked good when he came on though. We need to be braver with the shooting opportunities, trying too much for the 10 out of 10 pass and move when there were chances right on the 18-yard line to shoot.
And Brendan, who had an entry on F Factor, is coming in with an opinion on the game. He says, not ideal but not a disaster. Some slack passing and control from us cost opportunities. Credit to Queen's Park for stifling us. Too much effort trying to play into close range only to clatter the ball into about 20 legs. Should maybe have tried some long range howitzers when we had the space. I was certainly the way. I've been reading. Can I recommend a good audiobook, How to Win the Premier League? And I've been reading all about XG and how it's basically from a data analysis and how he worked with Liverpool to win the Premier League. It's fascinating. So I see all these long range shots. I'm now like, don't shoot. See when everyone goes shoot, I'm like, no, don't. The data tells you otherwise. But I thoroughly recommend that. Anyway, let's get on to Falkirk Daft Rated and Falkirk Dafty of the Week. Kick off with you, Andrew. Who are you going for?
I think rated for me has probably got to be Hendo. I agree with what you guys have said already. He was first class at the back, totally calm, controlled things, moved things about. I thought he was brilliant.
Yeah. Ross?
Yep. To quote Craig from Strictly Come Dancing, fabulous. I thought he was brilliant.
Christ almighty. Yeah, it's all round for Hendo for me. I was very surprised that Aidan Nesbitt got man of the match from the sponsors, by the way. I thought
he did have a good game though. He did have a good game.
Yeah, he did have a good game, but I was like, there was one outstanding, the defence for me yesterday, the outstanding candidates for man of the match, but I guess they were desperate to see the man bun up in hospitality, so Hendo has got mine as well. Right, Falkirk Dafties, or anybody who stood out yesterday?
I have a nomination.
Go.
It's not a player.
Right.
It's not a fan.
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually, he could be. He is a fan. I'm not going to name him, though. I'm just going to say, I'm going to call him unnamed Falkirk staff member, because just before we were due to eat yesterday, said Falkirk staff member came over to the table to chat to us and decided to start talking about his upcoming circumcision. Now, see, just before you're about to eat, that is not a good... you just feel like saying, come on, play the game, son. We're just about to eat here. And he starts talking about his upcoming circumcision operation. So he knows who he is. He's the Falkirk Dafty, in my opinion, this week for that poor form just before we ate yesterday.
I'm wanting to have a guess at who that is now. I'm really intrigued.
Go on then. I'll go on then. And you might tell me.
I think of people, Falkirk staff member. Was it, who? Why would you need a circumcision? Oh, right. Stevie Jackson.
I'm not saying.
Right, brilliant. There we go. You can quiz some of the Falkirk staff members then, and you can ask them. Whoever hobbles in next week, you'll know exactly who it is.
There's a cushion on his seat.
There we go. Right, we'll go with that. Unnamed Falkirk staff member for Daft. Unless you've got any other nominations, Andrew.
No, I don't. But even if I did, I'm not sure that it was rival the circumcision story. So yeah, fair enough. Go with that.
Fair enough. Brilliant. Okay, that is us done with the game. But now it is on to the quiz as it's Falkirk Daft versus. And I am, by the way, I have to apologise, but before we go on, Cal Morrison didn't play for Dunfermline. As I don't know why I had it in my head, or I looked up Wikipedia. It didn't affect the game yet last week anyway. It didn't affect the game last week anyway. But just apologies for Callum. No one should be tarred with that brush. Right, okay, let's go for it then, Ross. You've got the questions this week. I'm going to write down the answers. I've got a little board to write down the answers on as well.
Excellent. So how this will work, Andrew, is you've seen it before, but John will write down his answer, and then I'll come to you for yours. Okay. So
this is the bit I'm most nervous about in case you chuck me questions I don't know.
Well, listen, this is Scottish Cup week, so it's a Scottish Cup special. Okay.
Nice.
Scottish Cup special. So question number 1. How many times have Falkirk won the Scottish Cup? How many times have Falkirk won the Scottish Cup? So once John's got something written down, Andrew, I will come to you.
I've done that. I've written down my answer.
Okay.
I don't know, so I'll just pick a number. I reckon it's twice.
You're going to say 2. Okay, John.
2.
It's 1-1. Well done.
1957 and 1913, is that right?
Indeed.
You got that in your head, John. That is impressive.
Yes. So question number 2. So it's 1-1. Question number 2. What was the score in our only Scottish Cup tie so far this season? So what was the score in our only Scottish Cup tie so far this season?
Oh, what was the score? Right, I think I don't remember who we're playing. I could probably tell the score, but I think it's.
So have a think.
I've written down something.
Okay, Andrew, we'll come to you.
I can't remember who we played, and I'd have been there too.
I don't think you would have been, Andrew.
That way. Okay.
It was away, and we had a very small ticket allocation.
Oh, okay, right, okay, yeah. Now I need to remember the score. Jeez. 3-1.
You're saying 3-1, John?
3-1.
It was 3-1. Well done, 2-2.
Shouldn't have given Andrew a clue there.
Oh, you shouldn't. No.
So it's 2-2. Question number 3. Which season did we last make it to the Scottish Cup final? So not what year, but what season did we last make it to the Scottish Cup final?
Oh, man. I'm terrible at these kind of questions, and I know. What was it? I think it's that.
Right, so you've got something written down, John?
Yeah.
Okay. Andrew?
I think it's 2001-2002 season.
Okay, so you're going 01-02. John?
14-15.
One of you is right.
I know it's me.
It's John with 14-15. It is indeed. It is indeed. So 3-2 to John. So, in that same season, who did we beat in the semi-final? So, when the season we made the final against Inverness, who did we beat in the semi-final that season?
Got my answer.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Look at his smile.
Dundee United.
You're saying Dundee United, John?
Hibs, Craig Sibbald, 1-0.
It was Craig Sibbald, so I think John takes the title there with...
Hey! Up you, Andrew!
That was a good effort, though. It was a good effort.
Listen, they scored two things right, even with a clue. I'm still delighted. So
I want the full sweep. I want to go for question number 5 to see if I can get the full sweep.
Right, okay, let's see if we can get it. Let's see if we can get it. So, Andrew, you play along too. We last played Raith Rovers in the Scottish Cup in 21-22 season, but what was the score?
We
last played Raith Rovers in the Scottish Cup in season 21-22.
Wish I hadn't asked for this question.
What was the score?
21-22. You wouldn't have picked that question if we didn't win, Ross. So I am going to write down.
Interesting.
I have written down.
Okay, Andrew, what was your?
I reckon we won 2-1.
You think we won 2-1?
2-0.
You think 2-0? We lost 2-1.
That's what I meant.
So no clean sweep.
Disappointing. Brilliant. Well, anyway, thank you for coming on, Andrew. Really appreciate your time, even if you did get beat at the quiz. Thanks for coming on. Does that make it 15-3 to Falkirk Daft now, Ross?
It is now 15-3 to Falkirk Daft, yes.
Brilliant. Well, listen, Andrew, thanks very much. Like I say, it's great to hear stories of supporters coming back and supporting the club again, and long may it continue. But yeah, if you want to be a guest pundit just like Andrew did, please drop us a DM in our socials. I think we're full up for the season, are we right? Right,
pretty much. I don't. Yeah, if we progress in the cup, that's the only reason we may have
True. So there might be some options there as well. And of course, we're going to progress in the cup, which we're just about to talk about in a minute with Shaughan McGuigan from the Terrace. But yeah, if you want to be a guest pundit for one of those cup games, please get in touch. pundit@falkirkdaft.co.uk.
This is Falkirk Daft.
With Behind the Wall, we're navy blue. Are you?
As usual on Falkirk Daft, we'll look ahead to the next games, and we can do this, we can double up. It's 2 for the price of 1, as we have Raith Rovers in the Cup and then in the league. So we thought we'd get him back on. Celebrity Raith Rovers supporter, it's Shaughan McGuigan from the Terrace. How are you, Shaughan?
I'm very well. How are yourselves?
Very good. Thanks, very good. We will not talk. The last time we got into debauchery of talking about the strip club in Kirkcaldy.
It's not there. It's very much been bulldozed. It's not there anymore. We can't do it. We can't visit.
I know. It's very disappointing. Raith Rovers, I've got lots of questions I want to ask you, Shaughan, before we get into talking about the games in hand. Let's talk first of all about the Neil Collins situation, which was, from the outside looking in, you're like, what? He's gone. He's like mental. Like he was. I mean, how many games did he have in charge at Raith, Shaughan? Was it 8?
Might have been about 16 or so, maybe slightly more, including cup games. Maybe 16 to 18.
Yeah. And he was the number 1 candidate as well, apparently. But then, well, that's the way I was sold on it. But it was just mental that he was just, they had this clause in his contract to go back to America.
I mean, I suppose it was as unexpected as the Ian Murray scenario when he left the club, or was forced to leave the club, but did not see it coming at all. But I suppose what I would say is, see, in terms of Neil Collins, I mean, I was okay with him leaving. I didn't think that.
I think a lot of Rovers supporters, I didn't see a lot of people going, "Oh my God, he's gone." I think I was going to ask you that as my next question. Were the Rovers supporters disappointed to see him going, or was they just disappointed in the situation?
Nah, I don't think so. I mean, I put the club in a slightly awkward situation in terms of timing, because the January transfer window was approaching. And Neil Collins had suggested that he would be backed in the January transfer window, so there was a wee bit of panic about that. But see, in terms of what he had, well, you can't say he achieved anything at Starts Park, but in terms of how the team played under him, fairly mediocre. It wasn't great to watch. The results weren't particularly great. So I'll be honest, I thought, not necessarily that Raith would win a watch in terms of getting a transfer fee for him, but I wasn't sorry to see. I'm very surprised, but I wasn't sorry to see him go. Put it that way.
And see, from that perspective, obviously we now know it's Barry Robson's has got the gig. Raith fans happy with the appointment now that's where they've went?
No, I think that's probably split as well. I think, see, when you look at the list of potential candidates that might have been the Raith Rovers manager, in terms of the bookies, expected, it wasn't the most enticing list I've ever seen, put it that way. I think it could have been worse. I think I was more pleased at who it wasn't rather than pleased at who it was, if that makes sense. Like, there was, as every time Raith need a manager, the Courier newspaper always have lots of articles about how it might be Liam Fox. So the fact that it wasn't Liam Fox, I was delighted. But in terms of Barry Robson, could be anything really. I mean, let's face it, his tenure at Aberdeen, like, could it be any more mixed? So as a caretaker manager, I mean, Aberdeen were bottom 6 when he took over, maybe 7th.
Yeah.
Not entirely sure. I'd have to check. They were bottom 6. He led them to a 3rd place finish. That's very, very impressive. There's no two ways about it. He was then made a kind of permanent manager at Aberdeen. I felt that might have been a wee bit quick. Even at the time, I thought, I don't know if he necessarily deserves that as well as he's done as a caretaker. And pretty much everything after he was made permanent was poor. And I think when he was kind of relinquished of his duties, Aberdeen might have been 8th, roughly. Yeah, certainly, again, bottom 16. So I have no idea if Robson is a decent manager or not. I think there is I think in terms of his one game, okay, it's one game, but certainly in terms of his 2 or 3 interviews, I think already Raith fans are maybe struggling to take to him. But there's certainly some concerns with some of his answers to some of the questions that he's faced in those interviews, I suppose.
Yeah, it's obviously you were looking, I guess, for that new manager bounce against Ayr, and that didn't happen. It was a very disappointing 3-0 loss. George Oakley hat-trick in that first half, which kind of took the wheels off it a wee bit. And certainly, talking about Raith Rovers in general, the last time we spoke to you before you ended our unbeaten run, Shaughan, was the last time we actually spoke to you. You were predicting that we would win that game.
Yes.
But at the stadium, I've never seen it as a Raith Rovers, and I listened to the Oh No podcast afterwards to get their reaction from it. I have never seen a poorer side turn up at the Falkirk Stadium than Raith Rovers did the last time we played. I was shocked and I mean, delighted, but shocked at how poor Raith Rovers were in that game.
Yeah, and that's what has happened this season. So see, there's probably been maybe 4 or 5 performances this season all away from home where I would argue they are every bit as poor as the kind of muck that Airdrie have produced this season. So, first day of the season in the league, lost 1-0 Airdrie. I mean, I was on holiday, but I was able to kind of stream it. They were dreadful that day, like really appalling. So that was terrible. You've just mentioned it, the 3-0 loss to Falkirk, dreadful. Last Saturday against Ayr United. Listen, Ayr's a good team. We could have lost. We could have been 5 down at half time. It was absolutely diabolical. And oddly that I'm mentioning this because it was a game that we won. But about 3 weeks ago, went to Hampden on the Friday night, beat Queen's Park 2-1.
Oh, that one, yeah.
But see that first half performance. I mean, Zach Rudden missed an open goal from about 5 yards. It would have put us 1-0 down. I don't think we would have recovered for that. Like, we have been at Raith Rovers' kind of lowest moments, they are every bit as bad as Airdrie. But thankfully, those performances have been sporadic, whereas Airdrie are putting them in kind of most weeks, I suppose. But my goodness, they have been so disappointing this season.
Yeah, things aren't helping either, I guess, with Shaughan Byrne this week. He's out for 2 months. I was very surprised he didn't actually start when we played you. Has there been rumours of you guys dipping into the transfer window? I assume Barry Robson's wanting to get his own guys in, or do you think the finances will be too tied up?
So, again, really interesting in terms of Barry Robson. So Neil Collins was in his kind of latter weeks as Raith manager was suggesting he was going to be well backed. Well, no, let me rephrase that. Backed in the January transfer window, and that he knew what areas needed strengthened, and that the board were going to kind of help him in terms of bringing players in. Barry Robson is essentially saying the opposite. So he's saying that he is still trying to get to grips with the squad that he has, speak to everybody, still trying to learn the kind of attributes of everybody that he has at his disposal, and that maybe they won't bring anybody in, which is again quite a contrast to, I suppose, what Neil Collins was saying just whatever it is 3 or 4 weeks ago. So I suspect they'll maybe bring in 1 or 2 on loan, if that. But by the same token, and I wouldn't be surprised if I don't bring anybody in. And I do think I do think that maybe the club, and by that I mean the board, maybe suckered a wee bit by that win and run that they put in. So they won 3 championship, won 3 league games in a row. And I think at that point there was probably a wee bit of acceptance that, or a thought, I should say, that we'll probably be fine this season. We'll probably finish mid-table. We won't challenge top 4. We won't be in the mix for 9th. We'll probably be fine. And therefore, if we're going to be fine, what is the point in spending, bringing another 2 or 3 players that probably eats into your budget for next season? Let's go again next season. And I understand that theory, I suppose. However, considering how inept we were on Saturday against Ayr last weekend, I think they do need another couple of bodies. And bear in mind, there was 3 players went off injured against Ayr. So Shaughan, Liam Dick, Paul Hanlon went off injured in the warm up, for goodness sake. So I think they need a couple of bodies, because there's, with the exception of Airdrie, and I mean that in the nicest possible way, there's no diddies in this league. You know how like in previous seasons there's been like Cove have been terrible, or Arbroath have been terrible, or Hamilton's been terrible. There's nobody in this league who is terrible. So somebody is going to finish 9th who is not that bad.
Yeah.
And at this moment in time, Raith are probably in that equation.
You're right though, in the grand scheme of things, that most teams on their day could probably get a result against anyone. With probably the exception of Airdrie, and we don't want to do them a disservice, because I still think Airdrie try and play football when I don't think it does them a disservice, but it's not working for them this season at all. But you're right, every other team, if there's a result, it could happen. Like we talked about, obviously Falkirk going to Starks earlier in the season and losing the game. We've lost since then as well. Mm-hmm. And it's not always to the games. It's not always to the teams that you think, oh well, we should be winning here.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? So it's a tough old one.
And oddly, Raith have a kind of decent record against the top 5 in the league, and a poorer record against the bottom 5 in the league, and have a decent record at home. Like I think there's only 3 teams that have picked up more points at home. So that's yourselves, Partick Thistle and Livingston. So home record's fine, but in terms of the away record, only Airdrie have picked up fewer points. So there's a kind of stark contrast in terms of that home form and the away form. But I am concerned going into the kind of second half of the season.
And it starts obviously with the Scottish Cup game on Sunday, which is on the telly, 12 o'clock kick-off down at the Falkirk Stadium. Shaughan, how does Barry Robson, I think Neil Collins was a fan of the 3-5-2, and he kind of adjusts his system as that didn't seem to be working for him. How's Barry Robson setting up? Is he going for the 4-3-3? How's he setting up his team? Or is it
so
too early?
Not sure to be honest. So it did, and you're right in terms of Neil Collins. He very much wanted to go a 3-5-2, and he probably didn't have the players that could do that. Like Lewis Stevenson, for example, I think he was a good signing, and I think he's been okay in general. Does he want to be a wing back? I don't think he does. And if you want to play a back 3, then your formation is utterly dependent on your wing backs. And I don't think we have either. I don't think we have on the left. I don't think Lewis Stevenson is a particularly good wing back. Not now, at this stage in his career. He can defend, and he can defend. Yes, he can get forward. Can he do it for 90 minutes? I'm not so sure. And on the right, I don't think we really have a kind of right back to its name at this moment in time. So I hope that Barry Robson would prefer to go to a back 4. My concern about Barry Robson is, like, I'm guessing you haven't seen it, to be fair, but he was asked in his very first Raith Rovers TV interview what he's been up to since he left Aberdeen. Talked about if I'd be listening to military podcasts, which is slightly unusual, but listen, everybody, everybody needs a hobby. But he was also asked, do you watch the championship games? Have you watched a lot of championship football? And he went, no. He goes, no, I haven't watched the games. And I'm like, well, that's... And I know you can maybe... I know a lot of these interviews are just like filler. And I know you can read too much into them. I get that. And maybe it was a throwaway comment. But for Barry Robson to take over a championship club and to say that he's essentially unfamiliar with Championship football, I find wild. And it feels like he hasn't really necessarily done his preparation. So it will be very, very interesting to see how he lines up at Falkirk. And I hope he has a game plan, because I don't mean this in a negative way, but you know how Falkirk's going to set up. You know how John McGuigan's going to set up.
Yep.
And although you know how he's going to set up, that doesn't necessarily mean you can stop it. But you do know how he's going to set up, and how they're going to play. And I'd like to think that Barry Robson has a game plan, but we'll see. I'm far more worried about Sunday's game in the Scottish Cup than I am about the league game. But purely because there is such a discrepancy between Raith's away form than the home form.
That'll be interesting to see what it goes. So injury-wise at the moment, you've got Lewis Vaughan still.
Everybody. So basically everybody is injured. so at this moment of time, so Hanlon pulled up. I don't know if Hanlon will be back. In midfield, Stanton's kind of performances have been, his appearances have been sporadic. Don't know what the deal is with him. Scott Brown is or was out injured. Don't know if he'll be back. Vaughan will be out. Jack Hamilton, I suspect, will be out. Shaughan Byrne is definitely out because he's, as you mentioned, he's out for a couple of months. That there's definitely kind of 2 or 3 others were in there. So there's probably, you would imagine that weekend off will do them a power of good. Yeah. But yes, they might be minus, I would imagine, half a team. But listen, all teams have to deal with injuries, but we absolutely haven't dealt with it particularly well this season.
Yeah, I mean, Dylan Easton, unfortunately, still sounds as if he'll be playing. He's obviously gives us. It depends. Sometimes he's an absolute worldie, and then other games he seems to just disappear from the game. But he's always a player that I worry about coming up against when I see his name on the team sheet. So Scottish Cup, you're a little less positive about that than the league game. What do you think the score will be come Sunday, Shaughan?
So, I'll tell you what I think about Sunday. See, even if this feels very... it's interesting compared to how I would have talked about Raith last season going into this game. But it's certainly going into this one. See, even if Raith lose, see, as long as there's some kind of positive performance that gives us a wee bit of positivity going into the rest of the season, I'd actually be okay with that. However, it could also be a Doon. I'll probably go somewhere in the middle and say Falkirk 2, Raith 1.
Right. And what about the league game? It starts.
League game. Interesting. So I was surprised at how Raith managed to kind of nullify Falkirk in that game at Starks Park early in the season. It was interesting watching Falkirk against Queen's Park. It looked like for the highlights I watched, so the kind of 6-7 minutes that was on Falkirk TV, it did look like that Falkirk were a better team. But the Queen's Park did a pretty good job at kind of restricting Falkirk and their final third, I suppose. So I suppose that maybe gives some kind of template for Barry Robson to follow. He probably didn't watch it. He's probably too busy listening to a podcast about the Boer War. But regardless, I wouldn't be surprised if the two games are totally different. So I think that Falkirk got through in the Scottish Cup and that Raith might get a draw at Starks Park.
Right, okay, and interesting. We actually noticed that Aidan McGeady was in the stands yesterday making a hell of a lot of notes, so I'm wondering if he joined Barry at Raith, or maybe
not as far as I'm aware.
Would they have been teammates back in the Celtic side back in the day potentially? I don't know.
I mean, presumably, but McGeady is. He's very much not in the books of Edinburgh. He has been released, hasn't he?
Yeah.
So maybe he's probably a scout for somebody. Whether he's helping out Barry Robson, I've no idea. It's certainly not something I've kind of read about or heard.
Yeah.
I don't know if Ross, you were obviously in hospitality. Did you spot Barry Robson in the stands at all yesterday?
Not that I noticed. No, I didn't see him. You would assume he would have been there.
Yeah.
With Raith not playing or not due to play, beg your pardon, until today. But obviously we now know that game. Was it a cask? or
The
something.
gas leak, a major gas leak. A major gas leak, not a normal way for a game to be cancelled, but from a Raith perspective, thank goodness for it's very unusual for the words "thank goodness" and "major gas leak" to appear in the same sentence. But thank goodness,
Sean, were you about the Green Neck area with a spanner at some point, just letting off gas?
Not guilty, absolutely not guilty. But I was kind of glad because it gives Barney Robson another week to bed in. And maybe a player or two to come back. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, Shaughan, thank you once again for joining us on Falkirk Daft. You back on the Terrace podcast this Thursday doing lower league stuff?
Myself and Craig Telfer are absolutely doing a lower league podcast this week for the Terrace podcast, and then I believe I know that the Terrace A View from the Terrace is back in February.
Oh, fantastic. So you'll be back on our screens yet again, Shaughan. Lovely to speak to you on Falkirk Daft. I always appreciate your time coming on. And as usual, best of luck, but we don't mean it. So
no, you absolutely don't mean it. You're still not saying it.
I know. I don't know why. Every time I always say,
because you don't mean it.
I always say best of luck, but I don't mean it. So why did I say it?
When I said Happy New Year, I meant it, John.
Exactly. But no, listen, thanks for having me. Take care.
Thanks, Shaughan.
This is Falkirk Daft.
With Behind the Wall. Stay local, eat and drink global.
And that almost puts a bow on this week's episode of Falkirk Daft. Thanks very much to our guest pundit Andrew and Shaughan there just joining us talking after the Raith Rovers game. And of course, if you are heading on to Raith Rovers game, what is the best way to get to the Falkirk Stadium? Ross Wayne?
Behind the wall bus.
Exactly. £5 for the home games. You get your drink when you get back to the pub. And Brian has got breakfast rolls on because it's an early kickoff. It's 12 o'clock kickoff for the Scottish Cup. So you get yourself behind the wall, get yourself a bro and bacon and a Falkirk Daft Venom. What a brilliant way to wash down.
What would you want on a Sunday morning?
Sunday morning, Falkirk Daft Venom. It'll be brilliant. Imagine I'm quite looking forward to it actually. An early kickoff. It means we can go back to the pub afterwards as well, Ross. So great news. We'll be in Behind the Wall next Sunday. But yeah, obviously Behind the Wall, stay local, eat and drink global. You'll get the Falkirk Daft Venom. I was in for my dinner last Saturday, Ross, and I was showing my children. I was like, look, there's Daddy's podcast. You can get a cocktail, and they were non-fussed about it. But, you know.
Did you get one?
I didn't. I was the designated driver. And my wife, she's not great with a lot of sugar. So she said, I'll definitely try one at some point. But no, she didn't have that. She had a glass of wine instead. So, but of course, they have Falkirk's best selection of fine wines, lagers, craft and cask ales. And of course, the Falkirk Daft Venom. Like I say, get in touch with Brian, get yourself on the bus for the game on Sunday. There's still spaces there, and like you say, there's going to be breakfast rolls available, and you can get a Falkirk Daft Venom on a Sunday morning. What great way. So get in touch. You can get them through the website, behindthewall.co.uk, give them a call, or speak to Scotty at the bar, get your name down for the bus, and get down to the stadium with that free drink when you get back as well. So we'll see you up there after the game on Sunday. And they've got a Bairns whiskey tasting as well. I actually might speak to Brian about getting along to that. Friday the 24th, it's £25. That includes your supper and 6 drams. Definitely speaking to Brian about that. 25 quid. That's your Bairns supper and 6 drams. And there's going to be a piper there as well. And Bairns turns as well. Maybe we should get up and do Tam O'Shanter or something, Ross.
I can do, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, or Tuamoose. You're probably more of a Tuamoose guy. Aye. So yeah, that's happening in the pub Friday the 24th. Book online or call the pub now. 6 drams, 25 quid and your supper. What a deal! What a deal! I'll be right. And it's actually been hosted by the Royal Mile Whiskies, which I've just bought a whiskey from as well. If you are a whiskey drinker, get on there. They've got a signature, a mystery cask, which is actually a Macallan, and it's like 40 quid. So getting a Macallan for 40 quid. Anyway, if you are a whiskey drinker, get yourself down to the Bairns supper on Friday the 24th by speaking to one of the guys. And that is it for Falkirk Daft for this week. Before we go though, we've got the Pelly Roll of Honour to get through. Thank you very much for everyone that got involved. Take it away, Ross. Who's on the Pelly Roll of Honour?
For the Pelly Roll of Honour this time, we have Charlie, we have Joe, Grant, James, Dave, Lewis, Craig, Gary, Hendo, David, and last but not least, Archie.
Well done. I've got a name for this week, Ross. You're in charge of the name this week. Who are we going for?
This name came up yesterday, and I can't quite remember why he came up, but we're going to go for it. It's a fairly newish, recent player. His name was Dan Turner.
Dan Turner, did he play like one game? I remember you getting very excited about this guy coming up. It was from wasn't it?
Unexpectedly excited about him, and it was, as it turns out, to be a waste of time.
I think he play one game. Did he even get a game at any point?
I think he got a game, but I can tell you how many.
Dan. That's just what you wanted him up there for. But brilliant. Dan Turner, that is your who you're getting. Message us, tweet us, Dan Turner, and you'll get yourself onto the Roll of Honour for making it to this point in the podcast next week. Thank you very much for watching. If you've watched us on YouTube, hello. Here's my face, there's Ross's face. Kiss the ginger screen, so you can lean up to the screen right now and kiss Ross. And then kiss the ginger for today. Rate or review us on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. Leave a comment, like and subscribe everyone to the channel. We're on Instagram, we're on Facebook. We should. I don't like Twitter. I don't like Elon Musk / Lex Luthor, as we spoke about. We should probably set up threads at some point. We'll do that. We'll look into that as well. But everyone seems to get in touch. Football chat seems to happen on Twitter. So fuck Elon Musk. But yeah, we have to swallow his corporateness and his opportunity to take over the world. We really need Superman on the case at some point. Buy merch.falkirkdaft.co.uk. Oh, did anyone get any Falkirk Daft merch for their Christmas? Let us know. We'd love to see a picture of you in it. That'd be amazing. We did sell one hoodie. I believe it was to Ashley. I think Ashley bought a hoodie. I think.
Thank you, Ashley.
But there you go. So thanks very much for listening, watching, doing that. How you do? It's double header against Raith Rovers. We'll be back to talk about the cup game. We're still trying to work out how we're going to do that next week, because me and Ross are intending on going to the pub after the Scottish Cup game next Sunday. So we don't know how we'll get it. We'll get a podcast to you. We'll sort it. But we'll get to that. But thank you very much for listening, and until next time, Ross Wayne.
Unexpected.
Kiss the ginger.
Falkirk Daft, what Falkirk Daft, talking about the dark blues and having a bit of a laugh. What Falkirk Daft, what Falkirk Daft, you can listen in the pub or you can listen in the bath. What Falkirk Daft, what Falkirk Daft, for everyone who's caring about being a Falkirk bear. What Falkirk Daft, we are Falkirk Daft.